learning about different kinds of relationships that Maya has to offer that you can use to control one object by the other is possibly everything that rigging is all about. Really, if you come to think about it, you understand that rigging is about understanding relationships between objects, learning how to control one object by the other in different ways. Uh, Say, for example, animators will control curves. Control curves are going to control joints. Joints will be controlling the geometry. Geometry will be controlling hair and cloth and so on and so forth. So basically, Maya offers this huge domain, this huge realm of relationships that we are all going to learn. Um, of course, we are going to start out small. We're going to start out by learning possibly the simplest relationship that Maya has to offer, and then sort of go from there. So in this particular video, we are going to learn about a relationship called as the parent-child relationship. Okay, the reason why it's called a parent-child relationship is because it has many analogies to an actual parent-child relationship. And to add to that, I'm going to give out a few cheesy analogies myself, which I would like for you guys to remember, possibly even keep to yourself because they're embarrassing. So here's an incredibly simple setup, if you will. I've got a cube and I've got a cone, and I want to set up a relationship between these two objects. I want to set up a parent-child relationship, let's say. And by that, what I mean is when my cube translates, I want my cone to translate with it. When my cube rotates, the cone's going to rotate with it. When my cube scales, the cone's going to scale with it. When my cube hides, the cone's going to hide with it. So this is an incredibly simple relationship. Here is the manner in which you guys are going to be setting up this relationship. Now, between a parent and a child, who is more important, do you think? The way I want you to remember it, cheesy analogy number one, is that the children are always more important because they are the future. Will you remember it like that? The children are always more important because they are the future. Okay, in this particular case, because the cube is going to be controlling the cone, the cube is going to act as the parent and the cone is going to act as the child. Remember, children are more important, so you select the child first, then you shift select the parent. And to make the relationship happen, you're going to hit P on the keyboard, P for parent. Okay, I'm going to hit P in 3. I want you to see what happens in the outliner. Ready? On 3. 1, 2. Okay, now something certainly weird has happened in the outliner, in that the cone is now listed underneath the cube. It's almost like a family tree, if you will. The child is listed underneath the parent. Okay, the way this works is that if I select the parent, translate it, see how the child goes with it. If I rotate it, the child goes with it as well. If I scale it up and down, the child once again scales up and down. I can press Ctrl H to hide the object and the child hides with it. So basically, the parent gets to control all the attributes of the child, much like how my mom controlled all my attributes. When I was a little boy, she told me what to eat, when to go to bed. She told me what to wear, almost everything, isn't it? And just like that, the parent here is going to be controlling all the attributes of the child. Okay, now because there is absolute complete control between the parent and the child here, I like to say, and this is another one of those analogies, by the way, is that in Maya there are basically two different kinds of relationships. There is a true relationship, and every other relationship is a fake relationship. Now, a parent-child relationship, much like in real life, is a true relationship. It's the only form of true relationship that there is. Every other relationship is a fake relationship, and we'll come to talking about fake relationships when we actually do come to those. Okay, but for now, remember that this is what we are going to term between you and me as a true relationship. A parent is going to be controlling the child in every attribute, translations, rotations, and scale. Not only that, you can have multiple cones, and all these multiple cones can be parented to the cube, and the cube will then control all these children. Much like a single parent can have multiple children, in Maya as well, you can have one cube controlling multiple cones. However, any given cone or any given object or any given child can always be parented to only one cube, only one parent. Which means any given object cannot have two parents. It can't be listed underneath of p cube 1 and say p cube 2. That's not possible. It's either a child of p cube 1 or a child of p cube 2 if there was to be one. Yeah, are you guys getting it? So any given child can only have one parent, any given parent can have multiple children. Okay, here's something interesting too. Okay, I can animate my parent and the child pretty much goes with it. I can also animate my child. But when I animate it, it is still in the sense of it following the parent. So I want you to think of it in terms of an analogy I like to discuss with my students. Think of it as if a mom is pushing a trolley in a supermarket. And there is a child that is following the mom. It's dancing around, it's playing around, it's jumping around, so it has its own little animation. As soon as the mom turns around in one of the alleys, the bouncy dancing child is going to turn around with the mom, which means the child can have its own little animation, but on a whole it's still following the mom. That is a big feature of a parent-child relationship where just Control Z this, where you can animate the parent, but the child can also be animated while it follows the parent. So that, in simple ways, is me describing a parent-child relationship.